Jason Momoa's sudden disappearance sent shockwaves through Hollywood and beyond. One moment, he was in the midst of filming Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom, bringing his signature intensity to the role. And the next, he was gone. No public appearances, no cryptic Instagram posts, not even a blurry paparazzi snapshot. For a man known for his larger-than-life presence, both on-screen and off, his vanishing act was more than just unusual. It was unsettling. His absence left a void, and as days turned into weeks, speculation reached a fever pitch. At first, fans assumed it was a temporary retreat, perhaps a method-acting approach to channel Aquaman's solitude, or a well-deserved break from the relentless demands of Hollywood. But when neither his co-stars nor Warner Bros. Addressed the situation, the mystery deepened. Wild theories exploded across social media. Some believed he had suffered an injury on set, forcing the studio into emergency silence. Others speculated that he had left the project altogether after a dispute with executives. A more dramatic theory suggested he had gone completely off the grid, retreating to the depths of the ocean, an ironic yet fitting escape for the King of Atlantis. Then came the darker whispers, rumors of a cover-up, of something Warner Bros. Didn't want the world to know. Was Momoa in danger? Had he uncovered something he wasn't supposed to? Some fans pointed to cryptic messages from those close to him, hinting at a secret he was unwilling or unable to reveal. With no answers forthcoming, the mystery only deepened, turning Momoa's disappearance into one of Hollywood's most chilling enigmas. Jason Momoa's quarantine wasn't just isolation, it was a retreat fit for royalty. While many imagined him holed up in a standard-issue 5-star hotel, the reality was far more extravagant. The Aquaman star disappeared into a jaw-dropping £20 million estate in North London, a fortress of luxury hidden from prying eyes. This wasn't just a mansion, it was a private kingdom, sprawling across acres of manicured land, designed for both comfort and indulgence. Inside, the estate boasted 8 opulent bedrooms, each adorned with handcrafted furnishing and floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking lush gardens. The 11 bathrooms, more than one for every day of the week, were outfitted with marble, gold fixtures, and bathtubs large enough to rival the depths of Atlantis. A state-of-the-art home cinema allowed him to escape into film at his leisure, while a custom-built climbing wall provided the perfect challenge for the adventure-loving actor. But the crown jewel, a massive indoor pool, shimmering under a glass ceiling, giving the illusion of swimming beneath the open sky. Despite the luxury, Momoa remained a ghost. No sightings, no social media updates, no late-night escapades in London's high-end district. The secrecy surrounding his stay only fueled speculation. Why the need for such extreme privacy? Who else had access to the estate? Was it merely a quarantine measure? Or was something far more enigmatic at play? One thing was certain, this was no ordinary isolation, and Momoa's choice of sanctuary only deepened the mystery. At first, Jason Momoa seemed to take his isolation in stride. He remained in touch with the outside world through virtual meetings, checking in with colleagues, and occasionally updating fans on social media. But something shifted. His responses became sporadic. Messages were left unanswered, and scheduled calls were missed without explanation. Attempts to reach him grew increasingly frustrating. Sometimes he would respond in short, cryptic texts. Other times, he was completely unreachable. Those closest to him began to worry. Was he simply embracing solitude, or was something more troubling unfolding behind the closed doors of his lavish quarantine estate? Staff at the mansion started noticing peculiar behavior. Momoa, known for his rugged yet down-to-earth nature, began making strange and specific requests. He ordered massive shipments of art supplies, more than any casual hobbyist would need, without explanation. Paint, canvases, sculpting tools, even clay in bulk quantities arrived at the estate, though no one ever saw any artwork emerge. His food demands became equally bizarre. Extravagant meals at odd hours, unusual combinations of ingredients, and an insistence on total privacy during delivery. Something was off, but no one dared question it. The security footage painted an even more disturbing picture. Cameras captured him wandering the estate's grounds late at night, long after the staff had retreated to their quarters. He paced for hours, speaking to himself in hushed tones, his usual confident demeanor replaced by agitation. His once polished appearance began to slip. During the rare video calls he did take, his beard grew unkempt, his eyes looked hollow, and his expression carried a weight that hadn't been there before. It was as if the Jason Momoa the world knew was unraveling, piece by piece. As weeks passed, his absence could no longer be ignored. Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom was in turmoil. Scenes had to be rewritten, schedules were thrown into chaos, and the studio scrambled to adapt. Momoa's role was too integral to the film for easy workarounds, but with each passing day, his return seemed less certain. The production delays mounted, tensions rose, and murmurs of concern turned into full-blown panic. What had started as a mysterious disappearance was now spiraling into a crisis, and no one had answered. Behind the scenes, Jason Momoa's personal life was unraveling just as rapidly as his professional commitment. His marriage to Lisa Bonet, once seen as one of Hollywood's most enduring love stories, was under intense strain. The pressures of their demanding careers, time apart, and the weight of unspoken tensions had begun to take their toll. Friends noticed a shift. Conversations that once carried warmth and admiration between them had become clipped distant. Even when they were in the same room, an invisible wall seemed to separate them. The strain wasn't just emotional, it was evident in every aspect of Momoa's behavior. Those closest to him saw his usual easygoing nature fade, replaced by frustration and exhaustion. The mansion staff overheard hushed, tense phone calls. His deep voice, usually full of laughter, now laced with frustration. There were reports of long stretches of silence, followed by bursts of anger or sorrow. The once rock-solid foundation of his relationship with Bonet was crumbling, and no one knew if it could be salvaged. For a man who thrived on connection with his family, his co-stars, and the world, it was clear that isolation wasn't just a physical state, but an emotional one. The weight of his personal struggles, combined with the pressures of his career and his growing solitude, seemed to be pulling him into a downward spiral. His disappearance from the public eye wasn't just about an actor stepping away. It was about a man quietly unraveling under the weight of his own world. The weight of Hollywood's expectations bore down on Jason Momoa like an unrelenting tide. With Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom positioned as a tentpole film for Warner Bros., the pressure to deliver another billion-dollar blockbuster was immense. The first film had shattered expectations, cementing Momoa as a global superstar. But now the stakes were even higher. Studio executives, investors, and fans all demanded a sequel that could match or surpass its predecessor, and that burden rested squarely on Momoa's shoulder. At first, he embraced the challenge with his usual enthusiasm, but as production dragged on, the demands became overwhelming. Every scene had to be perfect, every stunt had to be bigger, every promotional effort had to be meticulously planned. The weight of carrying an entire franchise, especially in an industry still reeling from pandemic setbacks, was suffocating. Filming under strict COVID-19 protocols only deepened his sense of isolation. Unlike previous productions, where he thrived on camaraderie with the cast and crew, this time he was largely alone, moving through empty sets and staring into green screen. The high expectations, the relentless scrutiny, and the forced seclusion began to take their toll. Studio deadlines clashed with his fraying mental state, and each day felt like a battle to stay afloat. To outsiders, he was still the powerful, charismatic king of Atlantis, but behind closed doors, the pressure was cracking him. The Hollywood machine that had once catapulted him to superstardom was now squeezing him dry, and there was no escape. When Jason Momoa finally vacated the £20 million North London estate, those tasked with restoring the property were met with an unsettling scene. What had once been a pristine luxury mansion, fit for royalty, now bore the marks of excess, isolation, and something far stranger. Property managers who entered expecting minor wear and tear were instead greeted by a chaotic spectacle, evidence of long, unrestrained nights and a lifestyle spiraling into disarray. The grand dining area, once immaculate, was littered with half-finished meals, exotic food remnants, and toppled bottles. The custom-built climbing wall had deep scratches, as if someone had attempted to scale it in a fit of reckless abandon. The indoor pool, once crystal clear, had taken on a murky hue, surrounded by overturned furniture and discarded clothing. More unsettling were the walls, covered in frantic, abstract paintings and sketches, as if the mansion had transformed into a feverish artist's retreat. Rooms were left in complete disarray, with expensive decor overturned, luxury linen stained, and bizarre sculptures made from furniture fragments stacked in corners. The cinema room, intended for quiet evenings, was filled with discarded script, tattered notebooks, and dimly flickering projectors, still looping scenes from old Hollywood classics. Staff whispered of excessive partying, though few had seen guests come and go. Instead, it seemed as though Momoa had spent much of his time in a self-imposed exile, creating his own strange world within the mansion's walls. The sheer level of neglect and disrepair suggested something deeper than mere recklessness. It was as if the house itself had absorbed the energy of a man unraveling, brilliant, untamed, and tormented by something unseen. Whatever had transpired behind closed doors, one thing was certain: Jason Momoa hadn't simply stayed there. He had left a piece of himself behind. As leaked images and reports surfaced about the state of Jason Momoa's luxury quarantine mansion, the public response was immediate and intense. Social media exploded with speculation, concern, and disbelief. Fans who had admired Momoa for his larger-than-life persona were now left questioning what had truly unfolded behind those mansion walls. Some saw it as a tragic glimpse into the toll of Hollywood stardom, while others wondered if the Aquaman star had been battling something far deeper than mere stress. Commentators, including Jesse Waters, weighed in with their own theory. On his segment, Waters expressed concern over the eerie nature of the revelation, suggesting that Momoa's erratic isolation and the mansion's chaotic state pointed to something more than just the pressures of filmmaking. Other media personalities debated Whether the extreme circumstances of the pandemic, the weight of blockbuster expectations, and his personal struggles had created the perfect storm for his apparent breakdown, fans took to online forums, dissecting every leaked detail, from the bizarre artwork left behind to the odd food deliveries and sleepless nights captured on security footage. Was this the sign of an artist in crisis, a celebrity unraveling under pressure, or simply the aftermath of an intense, private period of self-reflection? Theories range from the absurd, the deeply sympathetic, with some calling it a Hollywood horror story, while others defended Momoa's right to solitude and creative exploration. In the end, Jason Momoa himself remained largely silent on the matter, offering no detailed explanation for what had transpired. The mystery surrounding his disappearance, the mansion's disarray, and his sudden re-emergence left an unsettling feeling in its wake. The world had watched a larger-than-life superhero seemingly vanish, only to return as a man with more questions surrounding him than ever before. Whether it was the weight of fame, personal demons, or something else entirely, one thing was certain: Jason Momoa's quarantine exile would remain one of Hollywood's most perplexing and haunting stories.